Let me ask you something. Think about the smartest person you knew in school, the one with the best grades, the one everyone expected to go the furthest. Now ask yourself, where are they today? And think about someone else, someone who never stood out academically, who nobody would have predicted great things for. Where are they today? If your answer surprised you, you are not alone. And today, we are going to talk about exactly why that happens. Because the difference between the person who succeeds and the person who doesn't is rarely about how smart they are. It is about something far more powerful, far more learnable, and far more important than any grade you ever received in school. It is called emotional intelligence, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why it matters more than your IQ, your degree, or your resume. Stay with me. Welcome to Avoiding Drama. I'm Carmen, and this is a conversation that could change everything. So what exactly is emotional intelligence? The term was popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman in his groundbreaking 1995 book simply titled Emotional Intelligence, and it changed the way the world thinks about success, leadership, and human potential. I'm including a link in the description below for those of you looking forward to knowing more about this subject. In simple terms, emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize, understand, manage, and effectively use emotions, your own emotions, and the emotions of the people around you. Now, before you think this is just about being nice or sensitive, let me stop you right there. Emotional intelligence is not about being soft. It is about being smart in a completely different way than we were ever taught to value. Think about it this way. Your IQ, your traditional intelligence, determines what you know, what you can calculate, what you can memorize, what problems you can solve on paper. But your EQ, your emotional intelligence, determines how you handle pressure, how you communicate, how you influence people, how you recover from failure, how you lead, whether you have a title or not. And here is what makes this truly remarkable. Unlike IQ, which is largely fixed from birth, emotional intelligence can be learned, developed, strengthened at any age, at any stage of your career, at any point in your life. You were not born with a fixed amount of it, and you are never too old to develop more. Psychologists identify 4 core pillars of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, knowing what you feel and why; self-management, controlling your reactions even under pressure; social awareness, reading the room, understanding what others feel; relationship management, using all of the above to communicate, influence, and connect effectively. We are going to talk about each of these in detail later in this video. But first, I want to share something personal with you, because the best way I know to explain why emotional intelligence matters is not with a definition, it is with a story. I want to take you back to my school days. I had friends who were exceptional students, straight A's, teachers' favorites, the ones everyone pointed to and said, "That one is going places." And they believed it too. They had big dreams, big plans, big confidence built entirely on their academic performance. Then college arrived, and with it, something their grades had never prepared them for: real pressure, real competition, equally brilliant peers, but also emotionally mature, resilient, grounded. And one by one, some of my brightest friends simply broke. Not because they weren't smart enough, they were absolutely smart enough, but because nobody had ever taught them how to handle failure, how to manage anxiety, how to compete without falling apart, how to ask for help without feeling humiliated. how to keep going when the path stopped being easy. Their intelligence had always carried them, and the moment it wasn't enough on its own, they had nothing else to fall back on. I watched it happen, and it was heartbreaking. But here is the other side of that story. I also graduated high school with classmates who nobody expected much from. Average grades, no particular academic distinction. The ones who quietly sat in the back of the classroom without anyone paying much attention. Today, some of the most successful people I know, thriving in business, building teams, leading organizations, creating lives that the brilliant ones only dreamed of. What did they have that the others didn't? They knew how to read people, how to handle setbacks without giving up, how to build relationships that opened doors no degree ever could, how to stay calm when everything around them was chaos, how to keep going, not because it was easy, but because they had learned that resilience matters more than brilliance. They had emotional intelligence, and it made all the difference. Your grades told the world what you knew. Your emotional intelligence determines what you do with it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds inspiring, but is there actual science behind it? Absolutely, and the numbers are nothing short of remarkable. Let me share some of the most powerful research findings on emotional intelligence because I think they are going to surprise you. First, and this one stops people in their tracks every single time, job success is only 20% dependent on IQ. 80% depends on emotional intelligence. Read that again. Everything you were told about grades, degrees, and academic performance accounts for only 20% of your professional success. The other 80% comes from something most schools never even taught you existed, and it gets more specific. 90% of top performers across industries have high emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence accounts for 58% of job performance, making it one of the strongest predictors of success, regardless of what field you work in. Now let's talk about money, because this one is particularly powerful. People with high emotional intelligence earn approximately $29,000 more per year than those with low emotional intelligence. And every single point increase in your emotional intelligence adds $1,300 to your annual salary. Think about that. Your EQ has a measurable dollar value. And what about getting hired and promoted? 59% of employers say they would not hire someone with a high IQ but low EQ. And 75% of hiring managers say they are more likely to promote an employee with high emotional intelligence. In other words, your emotional intelligence determines not just whether you get the job, it determines how far you go once you have it. High emotional intelligence correlates with 29% faster career advancement based on a LinkedIn study of 20,000 professionals. And perhaps the most telling statistic of all, while 95% of people believe they are self-aware, only 10 to 15% actually are. Which means that most of us are walking through our professional lives believing we have something we don't actually have. And that gap between who we think we are emotionally and who we actually are is costing us. In missed promotions, in broken relationships, in opportunities that slipped away without us ever understanding why. The good news? Emotional intelligence is not fixed. It is not something you either have or you don't. It is a skill. And like any skill, it can be built, which is exactly what we are going to talk about next. So how do you actually build emotional intelligence? It starts with understanding its 4 core pillars and being honest with yourself about where you stand in each one. Because you cannot develop what you cannot see. Pillar number 1, self-awareness. This is the foundation of everything. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize your emotions as they happen and understand how they affect your thoughts, your decisions, and your behavior. It sounds simple, but remember what the research told us. 95% of people believe they are self-aware. Only 10 to 15% actually are. Most of us are reacting to life without ever stopping to ask, why am I feeling this? What is this emotion telling me? How is it influencing what I am about to say or do? The person who snaps at a colleague during a stressful meeting and then wonders why the team doesn't trust them. The professional who freezes every time they face criticism without realizing it is an old wound from childhood, not a reflection of their actual competence. Self-awareness is the moment you stop being driven by your emotions and start observing them. How to develop it? Start a simple daily practice. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I feel today? What triggered it? How did I respond? That reflection alone, practiced consistently, begins to change everything. Pillar number 2, self-management. Knowing what you feel is only half the battle. Managing what you do with that feeling is where emotional intelligence becomes visible to the world. Self-management is the ability to regulate your emotional responses, especially under pressure. To pause before reacting. To choose your response instead of defaulting to your impulse. This is the person who receives difficult feedback and instead of becoming defensive says, "Thank you, let me think about that." This is the leader who faces a crisis and instead of panicking or shutting down, becomes calm, clear, and decisive. This is the professional who disagrees strongly with a decision and instead of exploding in a meeting, addresses it privately, professionally, and effectively. Self-management does not mean suppressing your emotions. It means not being controlled by them. How to develop it? When you feel a strong emotional reaction coming, pause. Take 3 slow breaths before you respond. That simple gap between stimulus and response is where emotional intelligence lives. Pillar number 3, social awareness. This is your ability to read the room, to notice what others are feeling, even when they are not saying it directly, to pick up on unspoken tension, to recognize when someone needs support, when someone feels excluded, when a conversation is heading somewhere dangerous. Empathy, genuine, practiced empathy, is the core of social awareness. And in a professional environment, this skill is extraordinarily powerful. The manager who notices that a team member has been unusually quiet and checks in privately before the situation becomes a crisis. The colleague who reads the energy in a room and adjusts their communication style accordingly. The leader who understands that their team's performance is directly connected to how safe and valued those people feel. Social awareness is what transforms a technically competent professional into someone people genuinely want to work with and for. How to develop it? Practice listening to understand, not to respond. In your next conversation, focus entirely on the other person, not on what you are going to say next. What are they really saying? What are they feeling beneath the words? Pillar number 4, relationship management. This is where all 3 previous pillars come together and where emotional intelligence produces its most visible results. Relationship management is your ability to use your self-awareness, your self-management, and your social awareness to communicate effectively, inspire others, navigate conflict, and build genuine trust. This is the skill that makes people follow you, not because they have to, but because they want to. This is what separates the manager people dread from the leader people would follow anywhere. This is what builds the professional reputation that opens doors, creates opportunities, and sustains a career through every season, the good ones and the hard ones. Because here is the truth about professional success that nobody puts on a resume. People do business with people they trust. People promote people they believe in. People follow people who make them feel seen, valued, and capable of more than they thought possible. And all of that, every single bit of it, is emotional intelligence in action. How to develop it? Be intentional about every professional interaction. Before a difficult conversation, ask yourself, what outcome do I want? How can I communicate in a way that preserves the relationship while still achieving that outcome? That question alone will transform how you show up. Before I share the most important point of this entire video, I want to tell you about something very special that I have created for those of you who want to be more than just viewers. I want to invite you to join the Avoiding Drama Patreon community. For just $5 a month, less than a cup of coffee, you become what I call a topic chooser. And here is why that matters. Every month, you get to vote on which topics we explore together here on Avoiding Drama. The conversations that matter most to you, the questions you have been carrying, the subjects you wish someone would finally address honestly and without filters. Your voice literally shapes this channel, but there is something else that I find particularly meaningful. Every time a topic chosen by our Patreon community becomes a video, your first name and last initial will be credited during that video, not in small print at the end, during the conversation itself. Because you are not just a viewer to me, you are part of this. You helped create it. The link to join our Patreon community is in the description below. I would genuinely love to have you there. And if you are not yet part of the Avoiding Drama family, please subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, so you never miss a conversation that could change the way you see yourself, your relationships, and your professional life. Every week I bring you real talk about real life, and I promise you, the best is yet to come. Now, the most important point of all. I promised you at the beginning of this video that the most important point was waiting for you at the end. Here it is. Everything we talked about today, the 4 pillars, the research, the stories of people who succeeded and people who didn't, all of it points to one truth that I want you to carry with you. Emotional intelligence is not a personality trait you are born with or without. It is a choice you make every single day. Every time you pause before reacting, that is a choice. Every time you choose to listen instead of waiting to speak, that is a choice. Every time you check in with someone who seems off, that is a choice. Every time you take responsibility instead of deflecting, that is a choice. Those small, daily, deliberate choices, compounded over time, are what separate the people who simply survive their careers from the people who truly thrive in them. You do not need a new degree. You do not need a different personality. You do not need to be someone you are not. You need to become more intentionally, more consistently, more courageously yourself. The most emotionally intelligent version of yourself. That version already exists inside you. This video was simply the invitation to let them out. If today's conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone in your professional life who needs to hear it. A colleague, a friend, someone who is brilliant but struggling. Someone who needs to know that success is not reserved for the smartest person in the room. It belongs to the most emotionally aware one. Leave me a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, which of the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence do you most need to develop right now? Until next time, keep growing. Your future self awaits.